What's up, y'all? It's L.Love with MSconceptionz. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Share with everybody that you know. And I love that you are here back with me. You know who else is back with me? Our boy, your boy, bruh. Yes. So he's going to be in and out possibly, but I just didn't want y'all to think pillows was moving, and he's comfy, as you can see. So, for sure. Yeah. Well, first of all, before we even get started, let's get into these curls. Okay? Because, baby. Yeah. So, yeah, I did these myself. We might talk about the lock journey in later episodes because it connects to a lot of things that I'm, just excited about and more about me, and also helped with all the medicines I take and help me kind of journey through that. So, last week we talked about boundaries. This week this week we're going to talk about parenting and how managing with that with the chronic illness, but also the misconceptions behind that, misconceptions behind parenting. Now, this is a broad topic, so I'm not, again, if you're a parent, there is no right or wrong, if you will, to say this is the way that is best or perfect or anything. I'm just telling you the experience that I have had and also what I have learned to help me manage with having a chronic illness such as multiple sclerosis, and also how this can apply to parents who aren't having a chronic illness. So I was diagnosed, as y'all know, back in high school. And one of the things that I thought once I was diagnosed, I was like, bruh. So parenting, I was kind of counting myself out of a lot of things, okay? And once I became more educated about it, so once I became more educated about mothering and things like that, I realized, okay, so my body is not distorted in the way that I can't be a mother physically, right? So my brain was being attacked that way, like our emotions were. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm not even gonna be able to be a mom. My whole identity was kind of shooken. So I was like, nah, I can't even do that. So once I did all the research and talked to my partner, my husband, and I was like, yo, how can we do this? And you know, everybody says cool. The main thing was, hey, most of the time when you're pregnant, symptoms go dormant. They quiet. They like, okay, great. It actually protects itself, and you're good. You're good. And then after you have the baby, the stress of all that, okay, the stress of delivery, the stress of your body going through all those changes, sometimes can trigger what called a flare up or a relapse. So some people find out that they're diagnosed with MS after they deliver a child. Some people, MS gets really worse after they deliver a child. That was me. Hello. So I don't really want to go too deep into that. But I do want to share in the context of how it shaped my thinking. And all right, this is the type of parent I am or I need to be. So I walked into parenting kind of like, I don't think I'm enough anyway, right? So I was like, okay, I got to figure out how to be the best. I got to figure out how to still measure up in a sense, because I'm like, my brain was like, my distorted thinking was already like, oh, she's already going to get less of a mother because you're ill, right? So I was very, very, the misconception I accepted at the time was I cannot be the mother I dreamt to be. Okay. Which would have been, or the ideal mother that I dreamt to be. Which, what is that anyway? Okay, what is that anyway? With or without a physical illness that you're battling, we might have a conception or a thought about being a parent or how that should look, or we might compare, and we're like, I don't know if this is something I can measure up to, or you might want to be some way. And that is what I was doing. And then we add a chronic illness that shaped my identity because I had it as a young person. I was still technically a child. My brain wasn't fully developed. I was 17. So I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna be enough. I'm not gonna be enough. So it's like I felt like I came in there. Being a parent's already hard, and it's like I came in there 10 steps back anyway. You know what I'm saying? So that was already a concern there. That was already my issue. So I'm struggling in that situation. So I had to kind of shake those thoughts off, shake that thinking off, and say to myself, okay, I need to focus on first of all getting the right thinking in my head. Shake off the misconception that there is an ideal way of being a parent. Okay, shake that off in that way. But that wasn't the hardest part for me. Once I um, begin to do that, or it's a daily activity, I would say, shaking off that ideal thought, I would say, but I'm getting better and better as the days go along. I realize that not only do with that comes action that you have to do. So it's not just in your thoughts. You have to say, okay, with me shaking off these thoughts of now that I believe I'm no longer less than, I have to act no longer less than. Okay. So let me tell you kind of that in ideal practicalness. So um say you have an idea for the day, you're gonna take your kids to the park. And it's a sunny day, you're so excited, and you're like, yeah, I'm taking my kids to the park and I'm going to do that, and we're going to run and do all the things. Now, in a season of my life, if I had felt symptoms that were very crushing for me, I would ignore. So say my leg was numb, I and say it was progressing throughout. I'm like, I'm showing up for my daughter. I'm gonna do it. While that might be a noble feel like a noble mothering technique, it actually hurt me in the end because while I'm pushing my body to show up for the idea that I had, then my body is now put back a week. I gotta pay what they call the MS tax. I don't remember where I heard that from, but I didn't coin that. Okay, so it's just something that it was something that I heard from somebody or somewhere. So we call it like the MS tax. It's like if you feeling stuff and you been kind of feeling little nudges, like your arm get numb, your eye blurry, and your leg hurt. And those of us that have MS, you know what I'm talking about. For those of you who do not, these are I would say little, these are symptoms that you experience, and it might not be a direct flare up to where you need to go and get treatment, but it's for some of us, it might be an indicator like, all right, you need to chill, or you need to slow down, or basically it's like your body's telling you you're not, that nerve might be irritated or whatever it might be because of the damage to that nerve or area. So I had to tell myself I had to destroy, not really destroy, but the idea of like this is what a perfect day of parenting looks like. Taking my kid to the park and she's having an amazing time and this is what she dreamed of and da 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 on the cost of my body because paying that tax is expensive. Because if I know I learned throughout the years that I'm paying the tax. So I'm like, all right, cool. I'm gonna go press on. Well, she had fun on that day, honey. What I mean by MS tax is I'm gonna turn around and the whole following week, possibly, then I can't move out the bed. The whole following week, then I'm very tired and fatigued. The whole like I gotta pay for it like for 3 days, or I gotta pay for it for like a month, or it's more mounting up. So it's like take one step forward, then 10 steps back. So it's like it's not worth it in the end. Okay. So then I had to learn. I had to learn, Latoya, what is the objective as a parent for this, if it's going to the park, if it's taking them to an event, if it's whatever the objective is, can we still meet that without costing your health? Okay. And a lot of times I figured out how to adapt and overcome. Shout out to my uncle that's in the Air Force that told me that. And it stuck with me since then. Have to adapt and overcome because things aren't always going to look and be shaped the way that you dreamed it. And that is okay. Breathe with me and know that's okay. So I'll give you an example. And this happens a lot. This is why the example came straight to my head. My daughter might want to go play outside or do something very active. Okay. Mind you, I'm tired. Fatigue is the major thing. Now, I know, and I would feel very guilty about this because I'm like, oh my God, I'm letting her down. And I go through that mindset that I've said I shifted, that we shifted already. I said, okay, we let that go. I'm not enough. I'm a bad mom. All these things, but they come back. So I'm like, all right, I gotta let this go. But it'll, because I'm like, oh man, she wants to do this, and I'm not enough of a mom to meet her where she needs to. But I had to tell myself, wait, she just wants to spend time with me. So I had to accept and explain to my child that, hey, babe, mommy doesn't have enough energy to go outside and play, but you can lay down with me and we can play cards. Do you want to do that? And a lot of the time, they be like, yeah. Or, hey, I can't go outside and jump around, but we can sit here and paint this. You want to paint this number by color thing? You want to do that? Adapt and overcome, because the objective that wants to be met is time with your child. Most of the time, it's just time with your child. If the objective is like, I need to teach them something, it's like, okay, how can I still do that but still meet? Because without digesting and saying and believing that you're a failure because you didn't do it the way you dreamed it, okay? It's hard. I know. As a parent, it's hard. If you're not a parent, um, that's okay. And everybody don't want to be a parent, and that's cool. But if you're not a parent, and it could be just attached to anything you that matters to you a lot, that you dreamed, that needs to go a certain way. And when you realize it's not going that way that I dreamed, but it's going this way, sometimes it's like, okay, how can my objective still be met? Because a lot of times things go away where it meets the goal, but it's not going the way we like. And so we're upset about that. But it's like we still getting the we still getting to the paper, or we still getting to the spaces. We still getting there. So it's like we got to tell ourselves that it's okay, that it's all right. Okay. So this is something that I'm not saying I'm amazing and great at it, but I'm getting better day by day. And to be honest, it helps my child be a lot more compassionate and understanding That was something else I was very worried about. That she would be um, like take on the caregiver of me, like, oh no, I'm worried about mommy. And there is some of that, but in reality, I had to share with her, like, all right, this is what it is, but you don't need to, like, you're mom, you're a child, you don't have this control, or it helped shape what who has what responsibility, okay? And this might be a separate part that I'll go into more depth about because I really, that was another huge struggle. Besides what I didn't dream it to be, it was also my concern of what it was going to do to her. Okay. Do to my child. Like, oh my gosh, not only am I not enough, but I'm not going to mess her up because I have this illness. So, as I said, I'm working through all of that. And the misconception is it can't go, it only can go the way that I dreamed it. And if it's not, I'm a failure. But the truth behind the misconception is you can adapt and overcome. You can adjust. It doesn't have to go the way you dreamed it, and that's okay. The truth is the objective can still be met, even if it doesn't go the way you dreamed it. And you have to tell yourself that that's okay. You have to be like, you know what, that's okay that I ended up, getting a car, but it wasn't the, I don't know, the Denali or the Maserati uh, that I wanted, you know, that it's okay in this moment. Maybe you could set a different goal later, but these are the things that I had, that the misconception around parenting. So as usual, I'll leave you with something that let's work on for the week. I hope last week you set some boundaries. Okay. Last week you set some good boundaries or thought about some boundaries that you could put in place or think about. If you did, put some in the comments of things that you're like, hey, this is what I did or this is what I'm working on. I'd love to hear about it. But so this week, I want us to really consider some things that you have been trying to make it be one way when the goal is being met, but you are trying to something. What is something you need to adjust to? What is something you need to adapt and overcome with? So regarding parenting, if it's where, okay, my child needs to go to basketball practice every week. I would love to go with them, but I don't have the energy. You know, is there the objective is the child get to basketball practice. Although you might want to do it, and the dream is like, I take my child to basketball practice and I do it. It's like maybe once a week the child goes with a friend to get there and you trade off or something where, because you're going to end up paying it back. So, what are some adjustments you can do where you can adapt and overcome, but the goals still be met? So, let me know in the comments. And as usual, I love you guys and talk to you guys later.